women being natural nurturers, we think that we are giving unconditional love to others. And let me tell you, there's nothing called love that is conditional, because if it is conditional, it's no longer love. It's just an agreement. Love in itself has to be unconditional. That is, I give you because I want to give you. I don't give because I want you to think such and such about me. So when you're not in terms with yourself, when you've not accepted yourself, you end up doing a lot of things for others. You end up loving others, you care for others, and you look after them, you attend to their needs and so on. But deep inside you, there is that expectation that they will accept you because you're doing all that for them. So when you're not accepting yourself, the expectation that others will accept you comes in. And your action, your deeds become conditional. What you're giving is because you want them to accept you. You want them to love you back. Whereas if you have self-acceptance, it doesn't really matter who accepts you for what. I accept myself. I'm giving all the love that I have. So self-acceptance is fundamental for us to be good nurturers. And if we teach our children, even if you're not a parent, if you're just a friend giving self-love, giving your love to someone without any conditions, we teach the next generation to be unconditional, to love without expectations. And can you imagine how much better the world will be when we get to that point? Unconditional love is only possible if you accept yourself. So moving on to the next reason why you need to accept yourself. Now imagine yourself standing in front of the mirror. Most of us, especially women, will watch how many wrinkles we've got on our face, how many gray hairs we have, how fat we are, our muffin middle, and we find reasons to pull ourselves down. We look at every negative that we think the whole world is looking in us, and we just get hung up on all those negative things. And for all you know, the world probably doesn't even care. Yeah, but let's forget about the world. Let's bother about us, because this is our journey. This is self-acceptance from within. So if you look at yourself with this lens of denial of who you are, you don't accept who you are, and you're looking at yourself with that lens, all you end up seeing is negativity. You keep seeing everything that is negative in you. And then you find reasons for not loving yourself. You find reasons to agree with you that, oh, you're not worthy of self-love. You're not worthy of anything. See, I told you, I'm someone that gets really angry, and look what I've done now. So that's the sort of lens, and it's a downward spiral. You also end up talking to you negatively, talking to yourself negatively, and that only takes you further down. So you need to switch this lens to a more positive one. The advantage of having a positive lens is when you look at others, you start seeing positively as well. So self-acceptance, when you come to terms with your own plus and minus, when you accept yourself for your flaws and for your plus points, you also begin to accept other people for their flaws and their plus points. One analogy that I like to use is that imagine yourself to have a diamond. Yeah? You have a diamond right here. And on the diamond, over time, we have been accumulating a lot of debris, a lot of gunk, a lot of crap, yeah, for want of a better word. And we recognize that there's a lot of gunk there, a lot of debris there, things that we don't want. So what we end up doing, we mask it. Yeah, we try to have this positive picture and put a lot of paint on it. So essentially what you're doing is painting so that no one sees your gunk. No one sees all the debris. And in the process, you just get caught up in covering up this debris, paint and more paint and more paint. But you've forgotten that deep down, there is this diamond. And the more paint you keep adding, the longer it is going to take for you to get to this perfect diamond that is within you. There is a saying in Upanishad which essentially means what is in me is within everyone in this world. So you and me, you and I, you and myself and my neighbor, although I live in the UK, we think we're different. Yeah, we look at the surface and we think we are vastly different people, there's not much in common. But the bottom line is that deep inside us, we are every bit the same. The same diamond that is within me is there within her or within him as well. But we are not looking past those differences. And when can we look past those? Only when you accept yourself. Only when you see the paint that you have put on yourself, the debris that you have accumulated on yourself, and then you realize you have this beautiful diamond in you. The process of rediscovering you, rediscovering the diamond, bringing the beautiful diamond out, has to start from within. And the starting point for that has to be self-acceptance. As long as you keep fighting yourself, saying, I am all these negative things. And let's face it, we've all done things that we're not very proud of. We've all done things that we regret. We've all made mistakes, our share of mistakes. None of us, and I don't like using this word per se, but I will explain. None of us are perfect because we are only operating at that debris and paint level. But like I said, deep inside, we are perfect. There's nothing more. We don't have to do anything. We are already there, but we just haven't rediscovered ourselves. Now, when we were born as an infant, we were pooping in our diapers. Yeah. Even at that beautiful stage, we were admired. We were appreciated. And one step we took and we fell down and people would clap and be so proud of us for how well we tried and so on. And we never had any self-doubt at that time. Because if we had had the self-doubt, we wouldn't have got up after a fall and tried to walk. Without that element of self-doubt, without really caring about what others think, we progress so much. Imagine, think about it. When we were a child, a young child, as an infant and a toddler, our growth was exponential. Our learning was exponential. We became aware of the world. And at that point, we started falling apart. When we became aware of the world. Until then, we learned to eat, we learned to breathe, we learned to communicate, we learned to talk, walk, run, jump. So much took place until the point at which we started doubting ourselves. So we made our journey into the world, we started going to school, we had more contacts with people, and then slowly measures of success was slapped on us. So you are a good child if you get this grade. You are a good student if you meet these conditions. You are a good person if you meet these conditions. If you tidy up your room, you're a great son. So there were a lot of measures that were just slapped on us. It wasn't things that we took by choice. And at that point, we started questioning if we were enough. Am I falling short? Why am I falling short? And then you get this impression, because that's what the rest of the world is putting on you. Having said that, when you step back and think of it, is it really what they're putting on you, or is this what you think they're putting on you? Much of it is in our thought. So we start focusing on all these measures of success and the if clause. If I achieve this, I will start liking myself. If I drive this brand of vehicle, I will start liking myself. When I become such and such, I will start liking myself. So we put a lot of conditions because that's what we seem to have picked up from the world. A lot of conditions. And as we keep falling short in our own eyes because we've not met those conditions yet, we start losing our self-esteem, our self-worth. And you can see how so many even young kids decide to take the extreme step because they just don't think they're worth it. And self-worth comes from self-acceptance. Accepting that This is your situation now. If you are born into a poor family, that is your situation now. But that doesn't have to be your situation forever. But if you don't accept it at this point in time, you can't make a change in the future. So we need to start questioning what we have been conditioned to think. What others think of us is not what really matters. It starts from within. Now, my coaching, it's not quite a business yet, but my coaching company, if you like, is called Agam Agam. Agam refers to inside. So the reason I put two Agams there, one of the reasons I put two Agams there is because I'm trying to help you from my inside. Yeah, it is from deep down within me that I'm trying to help the person that's deep down within you. I'm not trying to change your situation, and you're not changing your situation. You're changing yourself to see situation better, to see situation differently, so that you can handle life better and differently. So it all starts from within. Another analogy that I wanted to share, especially because people think that if you say you're enough, you don't have to improve any further. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. If you imagine climbing up a ladder, yeah, it's a tall ladder, and you are climbing up there. You put one leg forward to the next step that you want to get to, and you put your arms higher up as well. But you keep your other foot on the step that you are in currently. You will not let go of that until you have actually gone there. And you give a thrust, you push yourself or you pull yourself upward by keeping a firm foot there. And that's essentially what self-acceptance is. You have a firm footing as to who you are today, because that is your anchor. From there, you can then go to the next step, your discovery of self. Although I'm showing it this way, the diamond is deep within us. The diamond is inside. So when you discover yourself, you're going deeper and deeper, but for that you need to recognize where you are now and acknowledge where you are now. If you are in a constant battle with yourself and in denial of your plus and minus, then it is not possible for you to progress. You will think that you're making changes. You could be making surface level changes, like changing a few habits, but very soon you'll go back to your old ways, because the change is not from inside. The change is probably very superficial, but not from inside. And the other difficulty that people have, or misnomer, is that when you accept yourself, it doesn't mean that you condone all the bad things that you've done or you think you've done. It just means that all those are part of you. Yeah, they're all very much a part of you, but they don't define who you are. Your definition is the perfect self within there, and you're just on your journey to discover that perfect self. When we have had a fallout with our partner and we keep shouting, we have a fight, we have a quarrel, that doesn't make you a bad wife. So that is what I mean by it doesn't define who you are. If you have yelled at your children, that doesn't make you a bad mother. A lot of us end up with this guilt, especially in the night. It catches us. The guilt that we have not done enough, we've not delivered enough, we are not good enough. But do not hang your worth, do not hang your acceptance based on these incidents, based on these events, because you are far, far more than that. And that is why you need to start accepting yourself for who you are. Now, what I say to myself is, rather than having a long-winded passage about self-acceptance, I just say to myself, I am work in progress. Yeah, that means I am who I am. I accept who I am. I'm not saying I'm perfect yet. I do remember that the perfect Veena is within me. The perfect spirit is within me. But I'm not there yet. So I am work in progress. I am getting there. I can make a change. I can aspire. I can be a better person. And I can get to that end of that discovery self-discovery journey, and I am on track. And that is all in that one sentence. I am work in progress. Yes, I might have yelled at my children this morning, but that doesn't mean I'm bad. I don't have to curl myself and withdraw myself and think extremely low of me. I am work in progress. I will get better. I will improve. The feeling that you're enough, hence, is fundamental for your journey to improve your self-esteem, your self-worth, your life. Okay? If you do not accept yourself, expecting the world to accept you becomes a joke. And you need to come to terms with the fact that the world is not there to accept you. And to be fair, everyone in the world really should be on their own self-discovery journey. So sometimes you see people that are in a similar place in their self-discovery journey, and you have synergy with them, and you get along, and so on. But there could be others who are far, far behind in their self-discovery journey, who have not realized the diamond inside them, and they don't even know that they should be on a journey. Instead of judging them, we can appreciate that they will someday get on their journey. So self-acceptance leads you to become one person that the world could really do with. Non-judgmental. Let us not judge anyone or anything. But if we constantly judge ourselves, then we don't stand any chance. We will be judgmental about others as well. Because remember the lens? We keep using that lens. You keep looking like this and then you look up at others. It's the same lens. So if I'm forgiving of my own flaws and I recognize them and I acknowledge that I can be a better person, then you start seeing the other people also with that same lens. You will start looking at people beyond their flaws. So to me, one of the biggest takeaway from becoming a more self-accepting person was the lack of judgment. I am a far less judgmental person now. And as a coach, as a parent, as a human, it is extremely important because you don't know what other people are going through or have gone through. And not being judgmental is an extremely important part of every relationship, in my view. So your journey of self-improvement starts from here, not from there. And when you have accepted yourself, like I said, you do not have this fight with one Veena doesn't fight with the other Veena. One Veena is not arguing with the other Veena saying, hey, you are so crap, you're so rubbish at this. And no, I just embrace both the Veenas and I say, yeah, there is that good and there's that not so good in me. And both of them are part of who I am. And I know I can make changes. So I will move forward with the acknowledgement. And like I say, in this big, big universe, I have a very, very small part. Self-acceptance does not equal arrogance. Self-acceptance doesn't mean I think I'm on top of the world. Self-acceptance doesn't mean I'm so full of myself. It simply means that I recognize, I acknowledge that this universe is far wider, far bigger, and I'm a very, very, very small part. But I am a part of it, and I will play my part effectively. And my role here, my purpose here is to play my part effectively. And that comes out of self-acceptance, accepting that you are a part of this big, big universe. And imagine how humbling that makes you feel. The universe is so big, and once you realize how small you are, it makes you a much more humble person. And that itself to me is another step towards your diamond. When we accept ourselves, and this is from personal experience I'm talking, when we accept ourselves, we allow the greater spirit in us, the greater self in us to guide us. We have put the curtains down on our ego. We are no longer in quarrel with ourselves. Then there is more space in our head for a bigger energy. The diamond slowly starts to shine, its light can be felt, and that greater self guides you better. So we all need to be prepared to let our guard down, accept ourselves for who you are. And one of the big advantages, you don't have to wait for someone else to accept you, because you know you are enough. Yeah? So go on and say to yourself that you are enough.